let's see what they're able to do here in the losers.
Let's get to it then. It's Miramar once again here, our final Miramar for the day as these teams try and rack up the points in the losers bracket.
Thank you very much, Martin and James. I can call them that because they're my friends. And I know that.
You can do
Yes.
that? Wow.
We are going to be heading into the last game of Miramar for the day. And as you and I were kind of actually just talking about it just before, you know, we got the throw from the desk. There's a lot of areas of Miramar where it's just not great. You know, the endgame circles are just not conducive to any good gunfights or really any like kind of crazy rotations because there's just nothing to play.
That's why when people started complaining about Takeo initially, I was like, do you guys even play Miramar? Like, what are you guys talking about? There's plenty of cover. Of course, there are areas of, and you know what? Honestly, I feel like it's great. There has to be in a map as big as what we see right here. There has to be areas that are just you should not be here under any circumstances. Because if not, then I don't know. It wouldn't be good. I feel like there has to be dead space somewhere.
Sure.
There has to be those really tricky areas. And also, I love seeing pro players try to make something happen in areas that are just brutally difficult to play, and that's what we saw. The whole ridge line being able to maneuver net the way the Twisted Minds did in this game. I think seeing those sort of plays out of really hard to play areas are always phenomenal to watch.
Yeah, and as we now look at the drop against similar planes, so mostly to the north, but a lot of these teams are going to be able to flex to go exactly where they want to. And I'm now kind of, you know, it's just been one game, but already looking at the leaderboard again, looking at Na'Vi, but also LG. I'm really just wondering when this team is going to wake up.
And that's the thing, right? Because you're saying it's just one game, and it is just one game, but it's also how many bad games, when you're already in kind of on a downhill spiral, how many bad games can you take? How many punches can you take straight to the face with a 0-point game before all your next games, even if you have things working your way, start becoming bad games because your mental just ain't there at all?
And especially in a lobby like this, we keep talking about a lobby like this, 12 games seems like a lot of games, but realistically,
really
you only have maybe 1-2 games that you can afford to kind of drop low points because of how many other points the teams are constantly getting, whether it's through kills or placement points or just raw consistency.
Yeah, and now with top 8 being the case, of course, that's a little bit of a different story where maybe there's a little more of buffer space, but I would agree with you completely. It's very limited, especially with, as we keep saying, how tough of a lobby this is. Very limited how many games you can risk throwing. But of course, there is always going to be this just did not work our way at all type of games. On the contrary to that, it's very, very limited how many should have been a good game but became a bad game, you can throw away.
Yeah,
that's probably more it.
But then look at winners bracket as well. Though, look how close and tight that top 8 was. It was separated by I think like 5 points in 5 different teams. So again, it's not going to be ideal for these teams to really have multiple bad games in a row.
Oh, no. I mean, I'll call it already now. Coming into the last game, game number 12 of Losers Bracket, we're going to be in a situation where the likes of 7 or 8 teams can make it in or not.
Probably, yeah.
Because of how close I'm anticipating this to be down the line. And the fact that Sabim got the first win here, which I don't think is something they're necessarily going to be replicating over the course of these next 12 games, that's just going to make it even more close when some of these bottom teams that could potentially be all the way out of competition start racking up points early. They will maybe get caught up by some of the other teams down the line, but they'll still be in the race because they've had 1 or 2 really good games.
Right, and that again, that's also the kind of the mentality shift that you get when you do win a first game like that. Oh, CC?
He's shooting him with a Vector.
He's still got head.
I love the fact that CC was allowed to just run into Zenith's compound, loot half of it,
take the vehicle,
take his car, and leave again with no punishment at all.
So as we also kind of look at the circle where CC have gone, this one is going to be centered up just to the northeast of Picado. This area is actually, again, there's quite a lot to play, various elevations. Obviously, Graveyard going to be a very big component of the circles. We do see Na'Vi with a nice spread there, and even the Expendable is just going to be to their southeast. So a lot to play as we see most of the teams in here. E-Arena, I imagine, will just kind of go for a nice rotation here on the west as they do have Mighty with that forward position. So yeah, most teams comfortable currently in the circle, and this one isn't too wonky to play.
And now while Sharpshot is trying to clear different compounds, different angles, and we're talking about all these rotations, I just, once again, want to remind everyone that I strongly advocate, and I think I talk on behalf of everyone that watches PUBG on a regular basis, and us talent as well, that you should have your map open. Always have availability always have access to a map stream, because while we're seeing Dog2 sat here in the compound, it's so important to know what is happening all around the map as well. So do exclamation mark map in the chat to get it up and have it on a second monitor, have it on a second browser window, whatever it may be. Always smart to be able to hop back and forth to keep track of what happens, especially in and around the time when new circle pops. That can be really, really, really important in order to understand exactly where fights are taking place and why they're taking place.
As well as just looking at rotations, right? Speaking of rotations now, it's going to be Forrest cornering.
They're hunting him.
Yeah, KM99 is just trying to get away, but they have a Murado on the tail. It's going to be much faster than that Bronco. Oh, never mind. He ran into...
Oh, one is lost. He's touched and we've won. Hunter's taken out as well, as he didn't manage to not pull the handbrake on his stuff there.
Oh, he got a tire, though. That's going to be very... I mean, the Bronco's already...
He's going for him again. He lost the tire. He lost the tire. They're on the worst. The hell?
Look at Olympus. They're just relentless in this push here, Toby. That's another tire
This is like a cell being hunted by lions, or I guess by deer in this case, as KM is trying to his best of his ability stay put, but
that was almost kind of rude. That was almost mean to watch.
It was like what, being on a safari?
Yeah, it was watching lions, as you said, hunting the sickly gazelles in the back. That was actually
the young gazelle that just couldn't run with the group. Oh, unlucky start there for KM. I credit him for staying alive as long as he did, but in the end, the Lions got the better of him. And now 777 in trouble too. We just saw Delvin get taken out, so expendables, not something you see too often, them taking 2 casualties this early on in the game.
Yeah, they've generally been very good at keeping not only members alive, but having good rotations and even being in a position themselves to punish other teams.
Also, awkward place they end up sitting in, right? Because they were in a 2-2 split, but the issue is they allowed, I suppose you could say, for Roth and for Friendly Fire to wrap in between their split. Then they said, great, we'll just flex back towards the compound that LG is currently in. But here comes LG, takes it away from them, and all of a sudden, you find yourself with 2 players out in the middle of the open because you tried to come down to one compound. As soon as you leave, LG, very wisely so, spots the cars leaving the compound, come down and claim it, and you're now on an island in between multiple teams.
But that becomes the difficult decision to make when you are doing a 2-2 split so early in Circle 1, right? With many teams rotating in, you know, you have to be hyper aware of the compounds that are very popular, obviously this one being so, as well as the ones that you may be split in between and the teams coming in. So yeah, that was not necessarily a mistake coming out from the expendables, but the timing was just not right.
Exactly, and worse now as well. I mean, should the next circle go anywhere near the compound that we still see both Dog2 and Tanvu in, that's one of those where that could have been their game win. That could have been their one chance where all the circles go their way. And now they lose 2 players early. But of course, that's a bit further down the line. And we still do have 2 minutes 20 till the new circle pops.
I also do want to point out and kind of bounce off what we were talking about earlier, though, which was you mentioning the map stream. I mean, whether you're an aspiring, you know, future pro player, or even if you're just playing pubs, watching the map stream and watching not only just the timings, but some of the rotation of these teams can give you such a good indicator of why they're rotating and then just how to rotate it in your own games. Because once you start doing that, you really do start to get a much better understanding of the map that you're playing. So very highly recommend, as Toby said, exclamation map, check out the map stream in tandem while you're watching these games.
It really does help out quite a lot. We get to see once again the deer somehow ganging up. We'll call it the deer ganging up on the rabbit. The deer ganging up on the rabbit, as they do both have animals in their logos. I feel like it was very fitting. I just did not know that deer ate rabbits. But now we know. The more you know.
I guess they do. Yeah, the more you know. As we look at another little split here, this one not as wide as we saw the expendables portraying, and it's going to be Na'Vi again. The last game did not go their way. They dropped 0 points, but at least this time they have very good circle position. Obviously, they're dead center. They have a nice split here, and they have Graveyard with a lot of room to work with. So they are going to desperately need to start getting these points, not only just to get points on the board, but I really think just to get their mental right? That confidence they desperately needed. Because when Na'Vi is confident, as you said, they pretty much can beat anyone.
I mean, they do. They came out of the gates in group stage absolutely flying.
Disgusting.
I mean, they were wrecking every single team that tried to kill them. Of course, except for the last team on the server, because they didn't get a lot of second places. But outside of that, I mean, they were looking as good as Na'Vi has ever looked. They were looking at PGC form Na'Vi. And
did they even lose a team fight at PGC? I don't think so.
Not really. But again, I mean, going back to what we were saying and what we have kind of been saying over the course of this week, we are now in the second half of the tournament. This is a long tournament. It's a long time for players to be on LAN, to keep their health in good shape, to keep their mental in good shape. If you have a little bit of an issue between players at the start of a tournament, having to sit every single day with that teammate for 2 weeks could be a really, really, really difficult thing to do. Now, I'm not saying that there is any of that on Na'Vi, just in general, that there are so many things playing a factor that is not just, oh, can he frag, or oh, does he do this or that on the server. It's a long time to try and stay on top in a tournament like this.
And again, not that this is an issue they're necessarily having as we see this circle shift towards Picado, but I can tell you from experience, even just a small disagreement amongst teammates can snowball into something much bigger, especially if someone is making mistakes in the server and you've already had that conversation with them. And yeah, so that can definitely be a factor as well. And it's just maintaining the mental, just remembering while you're there can be a massive boon to the mental health of these players as they do go into a long-form tournament like this.
Exactly. Circle, as we saw, shifts down towards Picado. And while that's all good and fun, the issue is there ain't a whole lot around there to play. It's kind of in the corner of the Dorito down towards, well, between Picado and Chumacera. And you have to commit already now. Are we playing uphill or are we playing downhill? Because
that's the problem with the circle.
That's the issue, right? There's so much space in the circle as we're seeing all these teams try and maneuver through. That is just what we're seeing right here. An open slant. And because the face of the hillsides go up like into this valley, with teams sat still on both sides, you can't play that at all.
No.
If there was only teams on one side, you can kind of play off the side of the other. But here, with teams on both, that's like half the circle that right now cannot be utilized at all.
And you're seeing the main issue with that, even just with rotations, right? I do think we saw Game PT up in the air, but as you saw Friendly Fire coming in, I mean, not only does your side potentially have the angle on you, but the other side, we see Twisted Minds there to the ridge on Power Grid can also very much see those rotations. So even just coming down, and this can be very difficult, but Batulins now has some neighbors as all 4 members will jump, and he is going to parachute the hell out of there.
Batulin says thank you to the devs for adding emergency parachutes for situations just like these. Normally you would have a bike up there, but one Batulins just does not do it against an entire Game PT.
This is going to cause issues, though, for Twisted, though.
Definitely.
Game PT have a wonderful angle there to kind of work and pretty much just harass Twisted as much as they want, but at the very least, they do have a nice split that they can go to in the north.
I mean, one thing is harass, another thing is if they're trying to get down the hill, shoot the next circle shift down there, they now have 0 info to go off of. For the next 1 minute and 30, they're going to be blind as to what's happening down in, let's call it for now, the Picado Valley.
Sure.
Because they've just lost the high ground and the chance to scout further forward. And also, as you're saying, they have to be very, very cautious when it comes to playing anything outside that compound.
Yeah, especially when they do have a team like, you know, I mean, they don't know it, but we can see Day Trade above them. We also have Sarvum coming in on the backside of Power Grid, as well as D plus Kia that's going to be shadowing Sarvum as well. So this plateau, for obvious reasons, very strong, but it's about to get very crowded, especially now that they've lost all that information that they used to have.
Look at this. Expendables. They were set up by Graveyard. And I'm like, guys, so what if this circle hard shifts south and we just make a move 1.5 minutes early? There are only 2 left alive, and they've just fully committed to sending it into the blue to try and wrap all. I think they would have wanted to cross earlier, but now that Shen is there, it makes it a little difficult. But committing all the way around, they got a 2-tire Bronco to try and make this rotation with. So we'll see when we get eyes on Expendables again, as they are now, trying to make their way through Los Leones.
Hopefully they have some jammer packs, because
yeah, it's going to come in handy.
They're going to be very far in the south, but the main issue for them as well, Toby, if you look, is actually going to be Forest, right? They have a very wide split there, and they should be able to receive anyone coming in the south quite effectively, especially with Munto there sitting over towards the church.
Yeah, it's a nice split for Forest. Again, a team that we haven't really seen anything out of. Of course, they didn't play the winner's bracket, but
group stages, they showed signs.
That's the thing, more so to go back to the whole Therodon, Sarvum conversation that we had before. They're sitting in a wide split. If they get the circle, which
sucks.
They didn't, then, I mean, just, again, daring to spread out, daring to play with control shows me confidence. It might not be a lot, but at least it's some guys that dare to do that. And if you're, oh my god, if you're Expendables right now, they left the compound on the east side of that circle, and they're in Los Leones. They're looking at themselves going, are you something kidding me?
At this circle, I mean, just looking at it, it is so difficult to play if you are not in one of the high ground positions, either where Twisted Minds is or where LG currently holds that massive ridge that turns into a bowl there to the southeast. And so for now, 17 find themselves in a very strong position, but even this will be difficult to hold, especially when the teams start coming down off the top end. So we haven't seen a circle in between Graveyard and Picado in a while, but they're very difficult to play.
They sure are, and especially as you're saying, with both hills still in play, it goes back to the exact same thing we were talking about just before. What was 50% of the circle unplayable is now 75%, because both these hillsides, when you have Twisted on one side, when you have Na'Vi, Tyloo and LG on the other, you just cannot use the face of the hill at all.
And 4AM just completely shuts out anything happening in the north side, right? So Day Trade, although they'll be up there as well, I mean, there's no real way for any of these teams to try to make an approach because it's just a massive valley.
Yeah. Sure is. Twisted Minds moving out early, knowing that this next circle should shift away from the western hill, and therefore saying, you know what, let's just make the play before everyone else is doing it too. I like this early kind of prediction of where the next circle is going, playing off of tendencies, and you know what, there's a shack. And we've seen teams win from shacks before, and maybe Spiro and Lou will be able to do just that.
And
That's Game PT.
Game PT with a second drop. I guess they're just kind of eyeing this and looking where to go, but this is not one of those circles that I would ever want to drop into.
Well, not drop into, but also not have to play on foot.
Yeah, they don't even have vehicles. That's actually a very good point, using that. So they already used it once. This is their second one now, but my question is, where the hell do you go?
And here comes the remaining Expendables players. They're like, great, we went all the way down to Los Leones, we bought a postcard, we bought a t-shirt, now we're coming back to claim our compound. The funny thing is, it's actually still available. Little do they know, of course, but they could technically go all the way up there. It's just now they're running straight into what has become the setup here from Twisted Minds.
Well, between Twisted Minds as well, they also have Friendly Fire just to their west. LG now eyeing this rotation, taking some shots into them. Duckjuice has no tires left, and they have just been driving for so long.
Kudos to that car. It was on a long journey.
And Tadvu now at this point is all but dead. He's going to be taking out the Expendables, trying as they might, will still fall in 16th place.
Not a whole lot they could do. Nice effort to try and wrap around. And also, honestly, I like the idea. They know that there was going to be teams vying for that compound should it go up there. So they send it south. Issue for them is circle went the other way. And now Forest down to the southern side, taking the fight to Petrichor. And so far, 1-for-1.
Olympus will go down as they are now trading with nades. And this would be lovely for any of these teams to actually win the fight, because then they'd be able to do a push onto the foothold. But look at this, LG also hears this fight, and they are going to absolutely want to come in and third party this.
You say that, but I'm not seeing them make any moves yet. They all stood with their MK12s in hand, trying to maybe waiting for the perfect opportunity. The issue is Circle has just swung towards the north, so they don't want to overcommit to it. Try and see if they can maybe just get some kills on retreat. And now, well, here comes Forest, but they're running straight into Game PT, who has just arrived on that eastern side.
Nice drop, honestly. I really didn't know where Game PT was going to go with that, but they find themselves on the southeastern edge, and they have a lot to play now once they pretty much just wipe the teams coming in on the south, which is an absolute bloodbath, by the way.
Again, there's so much space over here because it was Expendables who was up here. They were doing a lot of work to try and keep teams off. Therefore, no one else really tried to claim it. So I think Game PT is right now, like step by step, going, wait, this is all three?
Wait, we can play all this? And we saw LG there earlier, but they actually ended up shifting to the south. So yeah, Game PT, nice. Actually, really great play.
Yeah, smart play to just grab over the other side of that hillside, other side of the circle, as Sabam now on the west have to do the same thing. Issue is now with the east and north being as open as it is, that southwest is going to be lit up in just a moment, as we're going to see Petrichor, Luminosity, Forest, Friendly Fire, DD team as well, have to try and somehow make their way up this mountain.
And the team that we really haven't talked about as well, because we really haven't had to, and they haven't had to do anything, is 4AM, Toby. They're just sat on the north side. We kind of mentioned them a little bit earlier, but they now have a disgusting amount of control here in the northeast, as they can pretty much do whatever they want. And in fact, look at the spread they have between Crazy, HSMM, as well as Xiaolu and Xiaopian.
The thing is, if this circle goes anywhere further north, they're going to be top 3 teams left alive at most, because right now, as you can see, everyone is fighting is down the whole southern side. Masters gets one. That's going to be Sissy down, as there's just nothing else that they can do to try and defend. They're split off in a really, really awkward position, and the arena taking casualties by the second.
Yeah, but LG is also going to push up the side of that hill, and they're going to take the fight to Forest, as they are stuck in a shack, and they actually have the opportunity here to take control quite a bit of the south, as the only team they really have to contest with on the opposite side of the hill is going to be Petrichor. But also look at Friendly Fire. They're slowly going to have to make up their trek up this hill, as 17 is just tracers everywhere, and every which team on the side of this is Ollie and Uba will take care of Day Trade just like that.
Day Trade goes to the dip down below Na'Vi, and they get blown up in an attempt to claim it. Nothing they could do. They thought they were safe, but Mortis reign supreme, this time thrown by hand from Na'Vi. Forest trying to sit tight, and now Luminosity. This is their chance to get something going. They like playing on the edge. They play really solid 4v4 up close on the edge. It's not been good for them this tournament so far, but we'll see if they can get something going here. Realo first to fall, but Kickstart instantly there to respond.
This is going to be a big game here, as long as Luminosity can just get rid of Forest. But look, Petrichor now, with their sights set on the team coming up on the west side, know that they can if they they can also get rid of them, this would be a massive amount of control in the south as Friendly Fire joins the fight.
Everyone wants a piece of the shack, which there's limited to no space to really vie for up here. And Masters again able to stand strong inside the shack as numerous people try and get him out of it, but not gonna happen. Flood now trying to do damage up above, as Xiao Yang's there to help him too. Petrichor in trouble as Flood finds the second.
And the south has just become such a mess as we now see Tai Lu stepping over, and of course they would because they see all the fighting happening. Mill trying to do his best to defend, and he will slow down Tai Lu with a knock, but he is the last one left for Petrichor.
Yeah, and Petrichor has to have read this kill feed. I know it's been busy, but still, they know their knocks all over the place of Petrichor, but they're not making a run for it. Mill hears footsteps and therefore can't really commit to the rest, and now we're seeing the flushes come through on that other side. One more smoke deployed as he tries to get the IGL Summer back on his feet, but they're wounded deadly already.
And if anything, this has actually given Friendly Fire such time to recover here, as they should be able to get Roth up as they do. And they're going to be able to push up this as a 4 strong, and all they really have to do is just get rid of the solo of Masters as well as Flood, and they should be able to take the fight to Tai Lu, who has stepped out into the edge to try to clear this.
And while all this is going on, 17 has heard the commotion on the hill and go, great, we're the last to cross the rope, but I guess now it's a pretty decent time because everyone is looking the other way. And if Friendly Fire don't catch on to this really quickly, which they do now, you can see them start flexing back the other direction, they're going to be in trouble too. But our eyes stay on Mill. In this 1v3 situation, it's phase 5 damage. It hurts like hell. He might just want, I was going to say, try and get the kill here and then die to blue, but not going to happen. Master able to take him down.
Page and Pixel need to be massive here for Friendly Fire and hold off that push coming out from Suju and Xiaobei, as well as Little Ghost, as they do have Xiao Wu sitting up on the west compound trying to hold that edge, as we now finally get to see what 4EM is up to, but they're dealing with Game PT.
Game PT fully committed to this compound. They ran all the way from that south side up to Graveyard, caught one of the 4EM players by surprise, have been able to reset now as well, and with Xiao Lu down in the middle of the street here, it's not looking easy for 4EM to get a proper reset in.
I'm sure they probably weren't expecting Game PT as well, just coming in, because there was no one above them when they had checked last when they had the split. So again, emergency pickup just causing so many issues for these teams that are so used to having control without a surprise.
Exactly. Now Sabim starting to look in this direction to a Schiller. Good shots coming through. Finds the knock. It's going to be Global Army at a bit of a distance to wrap over the top. Nice play on their part too. They were sat on the hillside for the longest time, but realized that eventually they have to make the play. And with Game PT crashing into the compound, this could not have been a better time for Esports, for Sabim Esports to engage.
So far, a really great decision, being much more proactive. Again, we saw a little bit of it last game, but now Sarvim really starting to come alive on the edge, and this is great for them as they now have to fight Game PT here on the side of this hill, and they're looking very good as Daku goes down.
Yeah, good reset has come through here for Sabim coming into this match. So into this day of matches, I should say. Reset on the scoreboard. They get themselves the win in the first, and now playing with much more confidence than what we've seen earlier. They have no need to wrap fully into Graveyards. They're going to stay on this side of the road, knowing that 17 Gaming crossed before them, so they can play somewhat backs free, at least for now. But of course, they would really want to force Game PT to go the other way, which seems like for now has worked out for them.
Fight that I am most interested, though, is happening here just on the southwest. It's actually going to be between 17 and Friendly Fire. It's going to be Little Ghost getting 2 knocks now, and a little bit of a trade there coming out from Pixel, but they're in a rough spot here in the low ground as 17 will be able to pour over. On top of that, they should be able to recover Little Ghost.
Yeah, trying to wrap back, and the thing is, there are only 3 in this exact spot. Xiao Wu is still over on the other side. He's crossing now, knowing that the threats at a distance aren't really that big anymore. He has to be up close. He has to be there to help defend or to rest a teammate if need be. Little Ghost should be able to get rest as they try and make their way back down. Actually, he might be driving away once again, Xiao Wu. I think that's 17 Game saying, we survived, we got the rest, we're good for now. They might have gotten their rests too, but let's reset and go back to the same split we had before.
Yeah, but most importantly, Xiao Wu is actually getting that forward position inside in the circle, which is very smart. So they do realize that Friendly Fire will be at the disadvantage, and I love this play, as I know you do as well, nodding your head, Toby. Yeah, this was a wonderful reposition. This wrap is going to give them that room to work with and to hold Friendly Fire out from a much better position.
They might just want to join him on the other side, try and leapfrog in, as you said. I mean, they got the circle, they can play the dip just on the other side. As long as you don't go to where Daytrade died, they should be all right. And I think they're doing exactly that. They say, great, we tied that fight, but now we have the better spot in the circle.
Friendly Fire, though, have made their way in on the south. Again, this fight is not even close to being done, as Na'Vi is just kind of hunkered down and using this little shanty shack town to do as much damage as they can to the north, as they do want to dictate most of the fights that are actually happening up here. 7 kills, 5 the way of Alia for Na'Vi.
Yeah, 3 of those coming through, of course, with the nades onto Daytrade, but solid play here for Na'Vi, standing their ground, holding off against all the teams that have come forward. Now Game PT, they've snuck their way forward, they've snuck their way up close, and is D+ on the other side. Not anticipating that one at all. Unluckily for Hella, a lot of damage spun, but no knocks found.
And they're sandwiched in between Game PT as well as Sarvam now, who's also coming up this hill. We see 17 potentially even coming in if they want to take a peek at what's happening on this north side fight, but Friendly Fire is not going to let that happen.
If you know there's a place that D+ knows how to fight, that is while prone, that is while playing on the defense. We'll see if this one is going to be a success story for them too or not. Schiller, no utility to work with. It's all down to popping those helmets off as the nade does come through from up the hillside.
As you said, D+ Kia, probably one of the best turtle down defense teams we've seen at this event. If it comes to a push, they do struggle, but when it comes to defense, they are absolutely unstoppable. Impregnable, if you will, as the nade is going to come in and knock a member of Sarvam down. And a second, so much damage. Now look at Na'Vi coming to join.
Full speed, sending it. They know that if they have a chance to clear one side before having to go to the other, they will be so much better off. And now they don't have to do much. Just presence alone is forcing this fight to happen much, much faster than they really wanted it to.
And Na'Vi being the sole team in this now new circle, they have so much control, but that also does pose an issue because if they get too aggressive, they know they will get pushed from the south either by Friendly Fire or even third party from 17.
And Na'Vi's doing exactly what I always ask other teams to do, go out and force teams to play, force teams into one another. 10 kills already for Na'Vi as they continue forward. It's just Americano left against CC on the other side. 2 kills waiting for him. Should he be able to find CC as well? Unluckily for Americano, it doesn't have any utility to work with, so even though he knows exactly where he is, can't do much but just prone here, wait for him to peek on over and try and see if he can get the kill.
Still, it's just so impressed though with the amount of damage that D+ Kia is able to do even from this dip, a very disadvantageous position. Is still, look at the damage done to Sarvam.
Wait, you can rest one. Oh, you heard the calm.
Okay,
heard Shawu on the other side. Nice play there from CC. Of course, unlucky to not have your teammates stay put, but force one off. Maybe you can run back for Resident. Even more so if Pixel. Oh my lord, the range after that M249. Unluckily for Sarvam, even though they forced off Shawu, the nade, the fadeaway shot works out to perfection, and that is Sarvam out in 4th.
The prone with the M249, it shows you just how disgusting that gun can be at range. Even on 100 meters, it's a laser beam. As look at this, Pixel now starting to get even closer here to the rest of 17.
Now, does he know that 17 is right there? Because he is terrifyingly close to them, and they just heard him shoot as well. So I'm a little surprised none of them are looking in that direction. Now I think they're realizing it. They're hearing the footsteps on the other side too. They have to try and play the surprise rule, but I think Pixel as well is being fed the info that opponents are just on the other side of this ridge.
I'm not sure they did hear him. I know he's close, but not close enough. But he knows very well. It's just 17 also aware that there could be a player making that push down the hill.
He did prone and fire 50 bullets with him 249.
Yeah, it was like 50 meters further south. Right? I think
they have an idea there's someone in the area.
Yes, 100% you're not wrong. As Na'Vi now starting to spread out a little more, they would love to have the rest of these kills and the win, as that would be a massive start here to their day. But Pixel is going to pop up and find a second knock there on a 17.
We've heard, oh my god, and he flashed himself with the tree. That's unlucky, but we'll see if the flash fades far enough, soon enough. Not going to happen. Little goes, peeks on over, gets one. I was just going to compliment Pixel, but a mistake. Flashbang is going to be the end of him as Melman gets the flush confirmed on Xiao Bei as well.
But look at how much time and how much delay that did to 17, but also the distraction from Na'Vi, because the rest of Friendly Fire is on the backside of this in the southeast.
Na'Vi currently fighting on 2 fronts here, trying to deal with both duos at the same time. As Alias flexing down around the side here, should have kill number 6 waiting. No, Example from up high finds him first. And now Sharpshot and Page trying to do this one against a very, very warm Na'Vi. 14 kills already, 7 of those on Alia. This is a phenomenal performance, something we've been waiting for the entirety of Winners Bracket for Na'Vi.
But again, you talk about the ability to be proactive. They did not just sit here. They dictated so many fights. They flexed out as soon as the opportunity arose. And so that is exactly the Na'Vi, as you said, we have been expecting this whole time. But even a nice game here from Friendly Fire, able to make it to the top 2, and Pixel doing a lot of work getting them some kill points as well.
Also, just incredible shout out to Alia. I mean, Alia has really popped off this tournament. I feel like a lot of the good things that has been happening for Na'Vi throughout this tournament has had Alia written all over it. I know he falls here, but his ability to find kills in this game or in the games in the past have been absolutely incredible. Normally, Na'Vi is a Uber and a Millman show, but Alia has really, really stepped up here during PGS2.
Yeah, now we do see the knock there, but it's just on a page, and he is stuck between a rock and a hard place, literally, as the blue is going to be right there, and Na'Vi will take a massive kill win here in Game 2 of the lower bracket.
Absolutely insane. 16 kill chicken dinner for Na'Vi. They were a shadow of their former self throughout winners, but here they come, I think, actually racking up as many points in this game as they did in winners bracket, if I'm not wrong. At least it's going to be close to it, but we'll see, of course, as we head into the next games, if they can continue their stride or not. Another team, though, Friendly Fire, some really smart rotations coming out of them here.
And that does not surprise me, especially with Roth, right? And they were able to navigate quite a difficult part of that circle, especially on the south side, dealing with multiple teams, specifically 17, doing everything they could to try to get rid of them. But Pixel, again, man, he has just been so fun to watch on lane. He obviously was the proprietor of that amazing clip we saw getting rid of E-Arena, and he still comes through for the team as he's been a wonderful pickup for them.
He sure has. Na'Vi gets himself the win. That was 14 points off. They got 40 points in the winners bracket. But still, phenomenal performance.